then he might be a go-to target for pickoffs in the early game if we're talking about TNC and their possible rotations. One final look at the lineups for both of these teams.
Welcome to Mobile Legends!
Number 1. So let's see if Renegade will indeed play this carefully, and if Yawi will decide to target him constantly from minute 1 onwards.
Alright, so Yawi going for the start that's opposite the Nolan. So when the Nolan gets there, it's going to be an easy orange take. Should expedite the process of the farming. Yue already aggressive with poking down Lancy in the center of the map, knowing that he has to do what he can to make sure Lancy doesn't get shrub priority around the center. Well, Yawi and Renegade already exchanging TPs. You'll have to see the Little Wanderer will be going to Zyda.
You know, my fear for TNC right now is literally time isn't on their side. Again, they can control the 4 to 5 minute mark for the side of TNC, but at the same time, if you let this go to a late game, Aurora's gonna have an easy time. Stack of stuff are gonna pile up for Dominica, and at the same time for Yue.
Yeah.
Interesting thing, by the way, Renegade picked up Pull Yourself Together as one of his talents for his emblem set. So that means he'll be able to get his flicker a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so could this be a much aggressive playstyle really for Aurora, that they will not be waiting for the setups from Yawi instead, and they'll be deciding to going in at, and especially during the objective takes that are about to happen later on, because for now I feel like it's been a quiet early game so far for both of these teams. They're just really patiently focusing on the farm. It might be really the first objective before we get to see anything.
Yeah, and when the turtle spawns, I'm waiting for the MLBB for the streets, because again, they can't play passively with this kind of lineup, especially for TNC. The time is not on their side. But right now, Aurora starting things off. Lord JM onto the back, trying to make sure to get vision. Here comes the throw from Yawi onto Edward. Edward popping into Infernal Pursuit. Here comes the Sanguine Claws as well, forcing Yawi to flicker out. The Zyda still there with the steal. And Zyda combination, Zyda will successfully take away the turtle, but here comes the counter attack from the Northern Lights. That's going to be 2 down for Aurora.
Edward!
Oh, and they still go in, Yue! Yue, say his name and he'll appear right on time with a Bats impact.
And you said it, Ingan, this cannot happen if TNC wants to take into consideration the timings.
Yep, Edward still too damn good on this Phoveus. Undefeated so far in this season with that 3-0. And Aurora understands just how to play around it, especially paired up with the Suyo. If a team that they're up against overcommits in an objective fight early on in the game, the Phoveus and the Suyo can get highly punishing!
Oh, good moves coming in from Renegade to cast that implosion onto Zyda, but Zyda will be safely escapes that as Aurora still continuing their aggression. 1.5k gold lead.
Sacred Hammer sideways flicker. What a surprising usage from Renegade, and this is probably also why the Pull Yourself Together is there. He really constantly wants to go for these kinds of surprise engages to catch TNC off guard.
Yeah, because again, if you're playing the Tigreal up against a Jawhead as well as a Badang, it's easy for you to get out of position because of things like that coming in from Yawi, but one Sacred Hammer is more than enough to disrupt the initiation coming in from TNC, and Demonkind goes crazy and brings down Yawi in exchange for Renegade.
That's what we were talking about earlier for TNC Pro Team. Don't be afraid to toss up Renegade when you have there. Even if that means you're going to have to sacrifice Yawi, just make sure that you're getting trades off of it.
Yeah, and I mean, even though the implosion was probably ready for Renegade, they had the Deathly Grasp.
Yeah.
So they had a way to deny the threat of a counter setup coming in from Aurora. So this might be the go-to plan for TNC. Regardless if Renegade already has his ultimate, they just need to prepare for that potential engage.
Lord JM not having a good time here in the bottom lane, got zoned out by Edward's Infernal Pursuit. Even going for more, forced to use out the ultimate plus the ejector. Edward pops his vengeance, trying to zone out Lancy as well. Here comes Demonkind and the rest of Aurora. Zyda goes for his purple buff, now goes for the counter attack. Edward again zoning 3 members, Mr. Consistent. Really looking for his next kill.
Edward is too tanky for TNC to handle right now. It seems like they don't have the damage to get rid of this problem just yet.
Yeah, too tanky and it hurts. They're going to have to bide their time and just make sure that they can farm up Kozen, and that's exactly what they're trying to do.
Renegade cast the implosion first, bursts down Yawi all of a sudden. The lover boy is out of the
Oh,
map. Flickers in, misses the target, missed connection, and gets punished. Aurora in a trance right now.
TNC Pro Team. Now they've lost their window. This was supposed to be their time to take control or at least keep things close, but Aurora have run away with the lead early on. You see Zyda now going to the bottom half of the map to try and get farm, but Aurora will take control for the next 4 to 5 minutes. The TNC Pro Team have to hold out and see if they can get farm for Kozen, as this Phovius has proved to be the #1 menace for their attempts early on, although Demon Guide is 5-0.
Okay, conceal attempt coming in from Yawi. Will Edward survive this vengeance out? Inferno Pursuit might get a kill even! But he can out-sustain 4 members of the Phoenix Army. Finally, TNC finds a trade.
Yep, a decisive engage from TNC, which is
Oh!
what?
Dominguite!
Fine Zyda!
What a grown man's play from Dominguite with the Death Sonata. And still, he doesn't even have a Sky Piercer yet.
No, I think
built it.
yeah, he just got it. So somehow you would know that Dominkite is really looking for these kills.
Implosion once again from the Hitman. Got stopped there by Lancy, but here comes the damage. Dominkite is too much for them to handle, forcing TNC to back away. Now they're going to try and transition to the middle lane. A conceal coming in from the Hitman. He doesn't have the implosion yet, but it's just enough to zone out the members of the Phoenix Army.
Yep, that conceal was already more than enough just for Aurora to immediately get that mid lane turret. And mind you, all tier 1 turrets have already fallen within just 6 minutes of this game.
And now TNC Pro Team are definitely in crisis mode for this game #1. They're gonna have to rely on them just countering an engagement by Aurora. It's gonna be hard if they're gonna be the ones to engage. Even if they get a good toss-up with the Renegade or to anyone, it'll be too expensive for them to try and play around their pickoff. They're gonna have to wait and counter an engagement that Aurora will start themselves.
Yeah, and the very few times that TNC did try to attempt for a counter engage, it unfortunately either missed or they weren't really as coordinated as they could have been. So now Aurora gets their hands on a tier 2 turret as well, and just look at the gold lead currently in the hands of Aurora all across the members that we're seeing right now, but from behind.
Ouch!
Oh,
Ouch!
Lancy nearly got taken out.
Okay.
Yawi in the bottom.
A conceal, they're trying to go for Yawi. Even Demon Kite used the retribution, but Yawi was able to flicker out, getting sandwiched by Aurora! And a monster kill from Demon Kite.
Aurora still looking so sharp, still consistent. It looks like they're going to be racking up this game #1 win. Not impossible for TNC to come back, but usually so far, the FPL Philippines Season 15, when it gets to this point, it's tough to come back.
Renegade, the Hitman, paired up with a Sagman Claw, they're going to bring down 2. Here comes the counter attack coming in from Kozen. He's going to pick up 1. Renegade is down, but 4 members of Aurora are still pushing in. TNC still with a successful defense. But man, Renegade, we've been questioning him. Is it the hit? Is it the miss? This time, he secured the play.
And how often do you see a successful clash under a turret still with the holy shields intact? Aurora was able to secure that win in the clash with just Renegade as their only casualty.
And congratulations to Edward achieving 1,000 career kills in MPL Philippines, a milestone for Mr. Consistent.
1,000 kills throughout his entire career.
And fun fact, he is the only EXP laner in the top 20 kills of MPL Philippines in total history.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show that Edward is on a class of his own as an EXP laner in terms of getting kills.
I know a lot of you are probably missing the Benedetta era. All those damage XP laners who used to pop up often. These Paquitos, but even despite all that, I mean, look at the pressure that Edward is able to apply towards TNC. We've unfortunately seen or saw them play reactively for the past few minutes. Despite their multiple attempts to set things up, it feels like Aurora always finds a way to either punish Yawi, deny him of whatever his intentions are, and force the flicker out of him so they have little to no problems in the succeeding fights that could happen.
Yeah, and even if TNC was proactive down to the bottom lane wherein they sandwiched Edward with 4 members of the Phoenix Army, it resulted to a kill onto Edward, but a counterplay right away from Aurora. So you see Edward doing just Edward things, basically doing everything. He's been zoning out TNC, he's been soaking up the damage, being the sandbag at the same time, providing enough vision for the Hitman to strike again. A conceal has been casted but gets spotted out. Yawi goes in for the throw, gonna bring down the Hitman successfully, but the inhibitor turret of TNC has fallen down in the hands of Aurora. They're gonna make quick work of this Lord, but now they're gonna try and pop the Holy Shields down bottom.
Oh, look at that damage from Yue though.
Yep, that Cillian is hurt. It hurts, man. And that's only 2 items. He's only up to the Lantern, the Magic Lantern. He's only built up 2, but he has hella stacks at this point, I'm pretty sure. Meanwhile, Lancy is only up to a Divine Glaive, and he had to rush that item because of the lead that Aurora had already built for themselves. So, in terms of the mid lane gold, you actually just see a 1,000 difference. Zyda, though, is starving. He's only built up to a Malefic Roar. Now he's able to build up the Blade of the Heptases, while Kozin is still on the way to a Holy Crystal. So we're now waiting for the 3rd main item of the Harith and the Vexana. Once they have those locked in, there's a good chance they might have enough damage to blast who they need to blast. The question is, can they even reach Kozin? The answer is probably not, because of the space provided by the Fulvius, the Tigreal, and even the Suyo when Demon Kite enters in at the right time. Again, Demon Kite has been untouched this game. 6-0-1. Yue, 0 deaths with 2 and 8. Demon Kite as well, no deaths.
Yeah, so TNC are just probably banking on the idea too that Kozin is also still untouched to this point, but he still has a lot of gold to catch up to.
Yeah. Even if he casts the Zaman Force right on time, it's just an easier target for Renegade to really focus fire on where the Zaman Force is with his implosion, especially considering that he also has the pull yourself together. Flickers are going to be easy for the Hitman, easily expendable, but 3 seconds in, it looks like Aurora wants to take away the Lord. If you'd recall yesterday, how many Lords was that? 5? 6?
I can't count. But one thing that TNC definitely has to take note of is that Renegade already has the Flicker once again. So they might not want to contest this objective. Also knowing that there is currently a 10k gold lead that is existing between these 2 teams.
Yeah, just a crazy amount of items came in for Aurora. For Demon Kite, the Sea Halberd. For Demon Kite, Malefic Roar. And for Yue, the Bloodwing. So, just when we thought the TNC Pro team might have a little hope here in terms of being able to dish out enough damage, even though we're not completely there yet, since they're still on the way to building up those items. By the way, update, Kozin does have the Holy Crystal. Still waiting on Lancy's 3rd. Aurora now should be able to end it here, or maybe the next minion wave after this initial push.
Yep, let's see. Because for now, they will be focusing on taking down the remaining base turrets. And TNC successfully clears out the Lord. So what will be the play for Aurora this time? Renegade seems to be cooking up something!
Yawi flickers in first, but Renegade goes in with a conceal plus the implosion play, flicker combination! But Renegade is the first man down in exchange for a Yawi. A godlike kill coming in from Demon Kite. The Kite Bros in a trance, forcing Kozin to walk away from his Zaman Force. A fat minion coming into the middle lane. 3 members are left to defend for the Phoenix Army. Zyda gets blasted out of the map, and Aurora shines bright as they take down the Phoenix Army.